So today we're continuing work on the interior of the 328ti. In the last video, we got the door cards done and they ended up actually making a huge difference for the feel of the interior of the car, but there's still a lot of work to be done. So today I actually want to pull out pretty much the rest of the interior that's left in this thing, aside from the dash. I mentioned in the last video how I actually ended up wanting to dye the carpet black. I don't know if we're going to get to the dyeing in this video, but there's still a lot of other stuff that we're going to be getting done today. For example, here in the back, there's still a lot of extra wires just laying around, and overall, the interior of the car is just really dirty. So I figure with the carpet out, with the seats out, we'll have a chance to be able to strip a lot of the extra wiring out of the car, and it'll give us a chance to see underneath the carpet and see if there's any little bits of rust anywhere that I'll be able to clean up. I'm really hoping there's not going to be a whole lot of rust to clean up in this thing, but the thing did come from an ocean city, so chances are there's going to be at least a little bit. So I've come across a bit of an unforeseen circumstance. So in order to get to the nuts on the back side of the seat, I need to be able to move the seat forward. But the mount for my handbrake is completely blocking my ability to be able to move the seat forward. And I don't really want to have to take off that bracket. Oh, you know, that should be enough. Perfect. Oh, fuck. I forgot how heavy these were. So with the seats out, you can definitely see how messed up this carpet is. So I mentioned how I didn't want to have to take the dash out, but I'm noticing that the carpet does go up underneath the dash. So I'm thinking I might just have to make some like surgical cuts through here. There might still end up being some gray carpet back behind the dash, but honestly, I don't even really care that much because there's gonna be a plate that's up over this anyway, so it's like, you know, you're not even gonna be able to see it. And look, I even went and bought a little utility knife. That way I don't have to be free balling it with a razor blade in my hand. Hopefully I won't be able to cut myself as much with this. Oh, that's literally all held on by the screw that holds on the hood latch. That's funny. Holy shit. Oh, that's concerning. Bruh, I'm so sad right now. So I'm going to try and take the gas pedal out so I'll actually be able to pull the carpet out. And there's a little tab that's supposed to sit right there on the backside. And you're supposed to be able to push it forward and get the pin out and then be able to wiggle up the gas pedal. Well, the tab snapped. And on top of that, I also made another discovery that is incredibly concerning, to say the least. Let's see if I can pull this up enough. Look at all that.
That ain't bad, it's just surface rust.
You think so?
No.
That's what,
That next to the wires.
that's what I'm saying. Oh, it looks terrible under there. It doesn't look like it's rotted through, but that's way more rust than I would like to see underneath this carpet. So I'm going to work on trying to get this gas pedal out, but damn. This project's already taken a turn for the worse. I'll tell you what. So I've been sitting here for a minute thinking about the recent discovery. And I'm not gonna lie, it has really destroyed my motivation for trying to make this interior look really clean. I've always known in the back of my head that this chassis was kind of on borrowed time. I knew when I got it that it was rusty, and that overall it was just kind of a hoopty. And I think I've started to stray away from the idea of this thing just being a complete missile car. Now, of course, you can have a missile car that has a clean interior and all this stuff, but for me, at least, you know, I like working on a budget. I don't like having to spend too much money on things that don't necessarily matter that much for the driving experience itself. And at the end of the day, I really just want to get as much seat time as possible and advance my skills within drifting. And if I'm being honest, having a stupidly clean interior doesn't really help me on that end. Now, I mentioned that I knew that this car was on borrowed time, and I don't want anyone to get it twisted. Like, I've not given up on this car as a whole. The car still drives great, it still performs great, and it makes a really good missile car. I think I've decided that that's just what it needs to be. It needs to be a missile car. So, I've made the executive decision. I'm not going to end up pulling out this carpet because, for one, there's just a bunch of rust underneath. And like I said, at this point, I'm not too concerned with having a stupidly nice interior. I'm not even going to end up dyeing it, but at the very least, I can give this thing a bit of a cleaning regardless. So I'm going to work on getting the carpet actually like back all together in the car. And then we're going to give it a quick vacuum. And then we're going to move on to some other stuff here and there. While I have the carpet somewhat out on the passenger side though, I'm going to take the time to take out all this extra wiring that the previous owner left in here. I believe he had like subs hooked up or something like that. I don't need these. I don't even have a working radio in this car. So I figure while I have the chance, I have everything exposed up underneath here. I'm going to go ahead and get that stuff out. Hey. Boom. Just like that, we got all this extra BS out of the car. Now I'm kind of thinking I want to try and route this battery cable a little bit better because I've just had it running along the door seam right here. And honestly, it's just kind of, it makes the carpet bulge all funny. And I'm noticing that there should be a good place right here for me to be able to route the cable down up underneath the carpet through some of these wire covers, and then it should cleanly go up into the engine bay. So I managed to get the battery cable routed a little bit better, so now you can't actually see it in the carpet over here, but the carpet still doesn't want to sit right here, and unfortunately I don't have the trim piece to be able to keep it all sucked up to the door sill. But regardless, it's out of sight. The cable's a little bit more protected up underneath the carpet. But now I want to move on to getting some of this wiring out of the car. Thankfully, it looks like it just goes up underneath the carpet over there, and then I believe there's a connector up underneath the carpet over there that I'll be able to just disconnect and pull all of this wiring out. So I was actually getting a little bit worried for a second when I went to go take out these wires, because I noticed that these wires were tied into this main harness that I was looking at, and it went up behind over here, and I assumed that it was wiring for the taillights, but thankfully that's not the case. I ended up tracing the wires all the way over, and they just go over to this plug over here. I'm assuming that these might have been like speaker wires or something like that. But yeah, I'll just be able to feed this through all the way over here, and I'm hoping I'll be able to push all this through up underneath here with relative ease. I'm gonna be honest, this video is probably like going all over the place because I went into making this video with a very solid plan of what I wanted to do, and turns out that that's just all getting thrown out the window. So we're making do with what we got. Bro, I swear, I'm just taking L after L after L today. So I got the wires out from the back of the car, and of course the carpet's all back together now. I've been going at it for a while now. But I got all the carpet out, and then I realized that the wires come through, and then they split off like right here. And I don't know why it didn't occur to me, because this went to like the amp or something like that in the back of the car. It didn't occur to me that, of course, they wouldn't all plug up to whatever connector I saw up over here, and they split off and they go up into the radio, which would mean that I would have to take the dash apart, and I'm really not trying to get that involved today. I swear, this video could be like a case study of what it's like to not only work on cars, but be someone who works on cars and makes YouTube videos. Because I'm gonna be real, like 75% of the time, I'm just winging it, and I don't do much research beforehand. I used to a lot, but then something changed and I decided to just start winging things and just going for shit. But then I end up in situations like this where I don't quite have the motivation to do all the stuff I need to do, and plans end up backfiring. But I guess what we're gonna do is I'm actually just gonna end up keeping these wires. I'm just gonna bundle them up real nice, and they're just gonna sit right back here where the back seat usually is. And then we're actually gonna get to vacuuming up this carpet. Well, isn't that just disgusting? I absolutely hate that. I was just much better off not even touching those wires. But it is what it is, I suppose, and we're gonna keep moving along. The carpet is definitely still dirty, but even after just a quick once over with the vacuum and after cleaning up the back a little bit, it's actually looking pretty decent in here. Now, I'm definitely not going to be putting in this old gray seat. It just looks absolutely disgusting. It's got this crazy stain on it. Thankfully, I actually ended up keeping the beige seats from the 318is. I would potentially use one of the black seats that we have, but they're all electric and they just weigh a ton. And I think they do have a couple tears in them. This seat just is actually the best condition seat that we have right now. And thankfully it is a passenger seat. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop that in. So I actually just realized something. The stand seat actually didn't come out of my IS. This came out of Kellen's sedan. So it doesn't even fit. Oh, I gotta love it. So not only was that a sedan seat that won't fit in the car, that was also the only passenger seat available at the moment, aside from my gray seat, of course. That car over there does have a passenger seat in it, but there's no battery hooked up or anything, so I can't move the seat back to be able to get the bolts out. And it's also kind of icky in that car, so it's got a little bit of mold on it. I'm not trying to deal with it. That's just another L for the books, I suppose. So I guess the gray seat is in fact going back in the car. I've got to say, the other night was an absolute disaster. I did end up getting everything back into the car, even though it was rainy out and I was just absolutely miserable. I ended up leaving out all the floor mats because, quite frankly, they were just really disgusting looking, and I just wasn't a big fan of them. Especially on the driver's side, I've noticed that in all the BMWs I've had, the floor mat likes to creep up onto the gas pedal, and I always find myself having to pull it back. So I ended up leaving those out. I honestly like how it looks a lot cleaner. But all the struggles from the other night, I'd say, even though it was annoying in the moment and it wasn't really fun to deal with, it did help me, I think, recenter all of my expectations with this car and what I really want to focus on when it comes to drifting in the future. I've always been a function over form guy, especially since I am still fairly new to drifting. I just feel like I really need to spend time getting the car dialed to a point where it's really easy to drive and it's fully reliable, and it can just be something that I can lap and lap and lap and just really hone my skills when it comes to drifting. I know this video has been absolutely all over the place and we didn't get a whole lot done, but regardless, I think that's gonna do it for this video, guys. I hope y'all enjoyed. I hope y'all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one.